Okay, so we can do the shortcut because the A term, oh, it's in white. Every time I start every day, it defaults to white. Can you guys see that okay?
Yeah, sure, yeah. I can see it pretty good.
Sounds good.
Okay, so x squared plus 7x plus 10. So A times C is 10 and B is 7. So what two numbers?
5, 2.
5 and 2. And because we can do our shortcut, we can jump right to x plus 5, x plus 2. Then what do I need to do with each factor?
Subtract them.
Equal them to 0 and then subtract. So I have x plus 5 equals 0 and x plus 2 equals 0. So I get x equals negative 5 and x equals negative 2. Is that good? Okay, what would happen, don't write this down, but what would happen if I had something like this? For my top number, I have 2, and for my bottom number, I have 4. So we have to multiply to be 2, but add to be 4. Is that possible? No. There are some trinomials that we run into that you can't factor. So what I'm going to teach you today is a quadratic formula that works for every trinomial, and whether you can factor it or not. Factoring to solve obviously only works if you can factor. So you have to know quadratic formula for the problems like this where you can't find your two numbers. So go ahead and grab some notes. This is 4.7 quadratic formula. So let's just recall, which I think you guys know because we've done this every day with A, B, and C. But A is the number in front of the x squared, B is the number in front of the x, and C is the number all by itself. Okay? I'm going to write down the quadratic formula. It's something you're going to have to memorize, but here's where the good part comes in. I have a song to help you memorize it. Okay? Yeah, last year, one of my classes got so into it that we went into the Hevalone and they played instruments, and we had some choreography to the song, and I recorded it. It actually just came off my time hop the other day. So, just saying, some classes we just do rounds, and it's fun. But I did ask some of my older kids today, and I said, should I even teach the song? They're like, yes, it's the only way I remember the quadratic formula. So, bear with me if you hate singing. Today's the day. We're going to sing a little bit. So here is the quadratic formula I want you to write down. And I'm going to try my hardest just to say it and not sing it the first time because I know it as a song. So it's x equals negative b plus or minus the square root. It's coming out. Of b squared minus 4ac all over what?
2a.
Oh, see? He remembers it. I said I almost didn't teach with the song, but I think they need the song.
You didn't teach it with the song?
I said see, he's sad. I said I almost didn't. Today's their first day, so guess what I'm going to teach?
The song?
See? But I have to have a pointer, because I have to show you the lyrics. Ready? Okay, ready? Here we go. I'll sing it first. Feel free to jump in. The second time, you're going to start singing a little bit. All this does for you is help you remember the quadratic formula. So that's the first part of class is memorizing this. The second part of class is using it. So here we go. Ready?
Yep.
I wish I was nervous to do this, but I'm not. I love it. Okay, ready? Here we go. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Exciting?
How does that catch? I have no idea.
It's Pop Goes the Weasel.
Oh,
Well, I guess you can just memorize it on your own. We're going to sing. But I think you guys, I really like this effect with the blinking. I got to go back with my other pointer because this covers up too much. It's tough.
What's plus or?
So here we go.
Why is it plus or minus?
Okay, why is it plus or minus? Good question. How many answers did we get for our bell ringer when we did that?
2.
2. So if I have a plus answer and then I do it again and I do minus, how many answers will I get?
2.
2. Unless the square root is 0, then you only get 1 because plus or minus 0 is the same thing. We're going to go through all of that today, but first, you'll sing with me. Trust me on this. Colton, they will pick up on the song. It helps, right?
Somewhat.
Yes.
It helps a lot.
It helps a lot, see? Ready? Get set. And when you go into trig pre-calc next year or college algebra, well, you're going to see this a lot, but you will see this again when you get into trig pre-calc. She just expects you to know it when you walk in the door. So knowing the song might help you remember. Okay, ready? Here we go. 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. How is that? Just, I tell you what, give in to this. It will help you. Give in.
Am I gonna remember?
I know some of us are too cool for school, but we just give into it. I promise it will help. Okay, one more time with me, and then on your own.
I don't think
You
I'm
can
ready
do
for
it.
that.
One more time with me. You can do it. Ready? 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That was excellent, Brian. That was terrible. You didn't even move your mouth.
I did. I
Did
actually
you?
did.
Like this?
No, I moved my mouth. You weren't even looking at me.
I know. I just wanted to yell at you. Okay, let's try it on your own. Are you ready? I think you can do it. Thank you for the confidence. I think you can do it. Ready?
Yep.
I'll point, and it will tell you what to say. Ready? 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8.
X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a.
That was really good.
So hey, I have a question.
I have a really great 7th hour. Yes.
So we're just plugging in
All we're doing right now is memorizing.
but what we're gonna be doing is just plugging the numbers in where the variables are.
Yeah, but you have to memorize this first. That's the hard part. Plugging in is the easy part. Because you guys know A, B, and C. That's the
Do you
easy
have
part.
to like sing this song for the test?
Well, you have to remember
We have to
it.
go.
So if you, I'm not going to ask you to perform. Thank you. We're just remembering. It's just a tool to help you remember. If you don't want to, then you just do this. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, one more time, and then we're going to plug in, and I'm going to show you. We're going to start with our bell ringer. We know the answers were -2 and -5. You're going to see that using quadratic formula, you get -2 and -5. So now, let's try to sing the song with your eyes closed.
Got it.
All right.
Okay, I'll point just in case. If you get lost, open one eye up and you can check it out. Ready? I'll get us started. 5, 6, 7, 8. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, those of you who did it without looking, you have it memorized.
I kind of butchered it.
Because you sang the song.
I did it.
You cheated?
No, I butchered it. Like,
I did it.
I kind of
Got some stuff in the wrong
I
places?
kind of did it only because I had the picture in my head, though.
That's okay. We're just memorizing. Okay, here we go. Now let's use it. So we've got, I'm going to pull this up, so make sure you have it written down or memorized. We'll start with our bell ringer, which we know the answers to the bell ringer. And I'm going to start you off small today. Well, I'm going to do a small chunk today and a small chunk tomorrow. So it's not going to be overwhelming. But most of tomorrow is going to be a work day to practice this. Today I'm not going to send you out of here with homework. We're going to do maybe 3 or 4 problems and go over them and be done. Okay? So, first thing I want you to do when you're doing this, so we don't get confused and you don't have to keep going back to the problem, I want you to write down what A, B, and C are. So what is A? 1,
7,
7, 10. So now we're just going to fill it into our quadratic formula. If I said x equals negative b and b is positive 7, what am I putting for?
-7.
Okay, so x equals negative b is negative 7 plus or minus the square root. here's where I want you, and it's hard to say without singing a little bit. Here's where I want you not to just write stuff out. I want you to do a little math in your head. Don't write 7 squared. What is 7 squared?
49.
So write 49 minus 4 times A, which is 1, times C, which is 10, all over, and here's another place I want you to use your brain. What's 2 times A for this problem?
2.
2, because it's 2 times 1. So don't actually write down 2 times 1. Write down whatever the number is.
That's all we have to
Okay? Now we're going to solve it. So once we get it written in, the part I want you to work on first is this part underneath the radical. So I have a 49, and then I have negative 4 times 1 is negative 4, times a 10 is a negative 40. So I have 49 minus 40, which is
That's 3.
9. So I have x equals negative 7 plus or minus, I'll pull this up in just a minute, square root of 9, all divided by 2.
So it's 3.
Okay? This is one we can actually simplify all the way down. Some of them you can't. The ones you can't simplify all the way down are the ones that are you can't factor. This one we could factor, so we're going to be able to simplify this all the way down and get some numbers. So I have 2 problems here. I have negative 7 plus 3, and I have negative 7 minus 3, all divided by 2. That top part, you want to think of it as you're going to get 2 different answers. So let's just start with negative 7 plus 3 is what? Negative 4 divided by 2. And then I have negative 7 minus 3, and I get negative what? 10 divided by 2.
5.
Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. Negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. We already knew the answers. I just wanted to show you how the quadratic formula works, just like factoring. Some people, when I've had foreign exchange students in class, they are only taught this. They're not taught factoring, because this works for every single quadratic that you're given. So some people like to do this only. Factoring is a tool that we will need later once we get to rational functions, when you have to simplify. So that's why I do both, so you can practice factoring also. But this works for every quadratic. Should we try another?
X.
Equals. Okay, so let's try this one. This one's going to be kind of jumbled up. When we factored, what did we have to make it equal to before we could factor?
0.
0. Same thing here. So you might be given a problem like this that says 2x squared minus x equals 4. I need to pull that 4 over and make it equal to 0. So I need to rewrite this as 2x squared minus x minus 4 equals 0 before I start. Okay, do you guys want to try this one on your own?
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, what's A, B, and C?
2.
2, negative 1, negative 4. Okay, be careful with this one. This one does not, the square root does not simplify down. So if you get a weird number in the square root, that's okay. This one's not good. This is not one that would factor.
So we just circle it there then?
Huh? Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just get it started, and then I'll jump in here in a minute. Maybe we should just fill it in and then stop and let's compare, because there's some places to make mistakes here. So when you plug in your negative b, because it's already negative, it is positive. So you should have a positive 1 out front. Plus or minus the square root. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. So you should have a positive 1 right here. Minus 4 times a, which is 2, times c, which is negative 4. Everybody good with the top part?
Yeah.
Okay. all over 2a, so 2 times 2, which is 4. Are we all good?
So is that a -4?
Which one? This one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Treat it like a -4.
I didn't do
So what? That's the reason I wanted you to stop. Let's work from here together. So we're going to start on the inside here, and I have a 1. That's this one right here. Then my next number, I have -4 times 2, which is -8, times a -4 is a positive 32. So I want you to always treat this number as a -4 to get your number, because a lot of people get stuck there. So I have 1 plus or minus the square root of 33, because 1 plus 32 is 33, all divided by 4. We actually like these problems because if you get here and you can't take anything out of the square root, you're done. This is actually your answer. This is how it will look in your book for the answer. This is how we're going to leave it as an answer for now. Good? Good enough? Okay, let's do one more, and then I'm going to let you guys go on a few by yourself, and we can go over them at the end.
Just a few.
Yeah, I'm not giving you very many today because I want to go over it today in class. So I have x squared plus 6x plus 9. Some of you might be able to look at this right now and say if it will factor or not. So if it's going to factor, we're multiplying to be 9 and we're adding to be 6. Does that factor? 3 times 3 is 9. 3 plus 3 is 6. So this one's going to work out to be a nice number. It's actually going to work out to be one number. So our A here will be 1. B is 6. C is 9. So x equals, what do I put for negative b? -6. Actually, I want you guys to work this one beginning to end on your own. I'll just fill in here for anyone that's lost.
Does this one also not factor?
This one does factor.
It does factor?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're right.
Okay, inside here I have 36, and then I have -4 times 1 is -4, times a 9 is -36. So 36 minus 36 is? 0. So we get 6, -6, plus or minus the square root of 0, all divided by 2. Square root of 0 is just 0. So -6 plus 0 is -6. -6 minus 0 is -6. So we're just left with -6 over 2, which is -3. And if I were to factor this, we would have x plus 3, x plus 3. So I get x equals -3.
Sweet.
So both ways work.
Will you plug it in?
Good? Yeah, we're going to be in the book. So go ahead and grab your book while I decide on your 4 problems.
100?
28. Are you going to be here first today?
Yeah.
Can I come in?
You want us to go or start on the book? We got it at 2:20.
Oh, I thought it was 2:35. It's 2:20.
Is it 2:35?
Oh, I don't
didn't
know.
hear in the announcements.
I'll look. Okay, you're going to do page 244, 1 through 3 and 6. And we're going to go over this in class today. Yeah, 4 problems.